Okay, we're not going to take the time machine there now, but 2 more million years go by, and another key development in human behavior occurs, and this is part evolutionary and part cultural. So there are changes, important changes in the brain, in the throat, and in the tongue, in the development of vocal cords that allow humans to begin to speak, allow humans to begin to develop communication, and therefore to coordinate and work together and develop a culture. And this is a key development, and a key development that defines who we are as humans. So language, the ability to speak and communicate, are key things that propelled humans forward to the point where within 10,000 years ago, they were such skilled hunters that they wiped out all of the large-bodied herbivores, the mammoths, the giant sloths, the mastodons, all large animals, and the only thing left was small prey. And so this really set up our next evolutionary change and the movement of humans into the next development, agriculture, profound importance to public health. So, Einstein has taken us 10,000 years ago to a small village in Central Asia. And so we're there in this village and we're observing the birth of agriculture. Now, agriculture was the dawn of civilizations. Remember, the humans, skilled hunters because of their ability to walk upright and their ability to run and pursue prey, and most importantly, their ability to communicate and collaborate because of the development of speech and language, these early humans wiped out all of the prey. So what are they going to eat? Development of agriculture. But it's not simply the development of agriculture. With agriculture became the dawn of civilization as we know it. Cities, countries, hierarchical governments, and then conflict, wars, violent death, the second leading cause of death among all humans in all time, these began to develop. So violent death, we see that, but that's not the real story that happened 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, with the development of agriculture, also came the domestication of animals. Dogs, cows, pigs, sheep, goats, horses, ducks, chickens, and all of the animals that lived along with humans, rats, mice, all of these developed, and all of these creatures, these wild creatures, had their own microparasites that they had come into balance with. Remember that basic public health principle? They'd come into equilibrium over 200 million years with these tiny microparasites. But now, all of a sudden, in close contact with humans, in larger towns and cities, and these microparasites begin to mutate and change and jump to humans. And all of a sudden, human diseases began to abound that humans had no immunity for, no experience for. And so things like malaria, TB, smallpox is a big one. All of these diseases that were previously unknown to humans 10,000 years ago began to develop, and humans had no immunity for these diseases, and bang, what happens? Epidemics break out, huge epidemics, and we will see in just a few moments how devastating these epidemics will be to all of humanity. Again, all of this started 10,000 years ago. So Einstein has taken us to the outskirts of Rome, 500 AD, and we're beneath a huge aqueduct, one of the triumphs and modern marvels of engineering. Still exist today, hundreds of them all over Europe and Asia, constructed by the Romans, the pioneers of public health. The Romans believed that the key to health was physical fitness, was being active and eating safe food, clean food, and above all, clean water. So they were really expert at providing large populations, large cities with clean water through pipes and aqueducts, and they believed in cleanliness and personal hygiene. So remember the Roman baths, very important. So Romans were the early pioneers of public health. They built public health as a fundamental part of their government, as a part of their empire. So it was very important. It's the first thing that they worried about. So they did not focus so much as the Greeks did on medicine, but rather on public health. So, what is the Black Plague? The Black Death, the bubonic plague that killed over 20 million people in Europe and Asia around 1340, 1339. Quite simply, it originated in Central Asia in small Mongol and Tartar villages where there were, adjacent to these villages, burrowing rodents that were disrupted by a drought, came to seek refuge in these small villages, carrying with them the Bacillus Yersinia pestis that causes the Black Plague, fleas, biting fleas, that then infected black rats or other rodents that lived in these small villages. Now, when the Mongol hordes swept eastward to attack the Roman Empire, they carried with them this Bacillus Yersinia pestis. And along the way, they infected villages and cities. One of those was the city of Kaffa on the Black Sea. And in Kaffa, these Venetian merchants had sought refuge from the attack. And the Mongols set up their siege engines to bring siege against this city of Kaffa walled fortress. But then the troops began to die because of the bubonic plague, the Black Death. And not wanting to completely leave without leaving a parting shot, the Mongol captain used the siege engines to hurl the bodies of his dead soldiers into the fortified city, infecting those that were in, including rats and others that lived in those cities. When the Mongols abandoned the siege, the Venetian sailors and merchants ran to their ships to get away. They dispersed first to Sicily and later across all of Europe, carrying with them black rats, the fleas, and most importantly, Yersinia pestis, the Black Death, spread like wildfire across Europe, Asia, all the way to China, killing millions. Some estimate maybe half of the population of the civilized world.